Morning, everybody. I guess it's afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you to Councilman Hines for being here. Delighted to have Phil Washington, the CEO of DEN, join us to talk about what we see as a very exciting opportunity for the future of renewable and independent energy usage in Denver. Today, we are excited to announce that we will launch an RFP process to pursue and investigate the opportunity to build an SMR, which is a small modular reactor or a nuclear reactor that we could use to help power the DEN airport. This means a couple of very exciting things that we stand to learn from this study. One is if we find from the study that it's a viable opportunity, we can move forward. That would give us a path to have DEN become the greenest airport in the world. That would be the first airport with on-site zero emissions energy generation. These SMRs could generate anywhere from about 40 megawatts up to almost 400 megawatts of power. That would be more than enough to power the entire needs of the airport, plus the ambitious plans for the airport's growth over the decades to come. That means a number of things. It means not just that we have an airport that is supported entirely by clean energy that's generated on site. It also provides a big opportunity for us around economic development opportunities in the airport region. As we know, only more and more demand for energy in this economy, but particularly as we look at the growing demands of technology and AI, there's far more need for data centers that require heavy use of electricity. This creates a huge economic opportunity for DEN to be a national magnet for folks who are looking to open either data centers or other high energy utilization technology purposes. So it both has an incredible impact for climate on the city and the airport, has a great opportunity for economic development for us. And third and finally, it provides really critical resilience for the airport's energy supply. You've probably seen reports around the world over the last years of energy outages at Heathrow or at Madrid Airport, where if you lose electricity, those airports can go down. Having our own on-site electricity generation means you actually have great resilient backup for the airport in each of those facets. So incredibly grateful to Phil and his team for the work to make this possible and to prepare us to launch this study. I will turn it over to Phil to talk a little bit more, but just want to say as we pursue aggressively our goal is to have Denver as a city be entirely carbon-free by 2040. We know that requires focusing on a lot of our areas of major energy utilization and major energy demand growth. And the airport is one of our most important economic drivers, not just in the city and in the region, but in multiple states. We are very proud to be the 6th busiest airport in the world, in the ranks of Dubai and London and Tokyo. We're very proud of our vision that Phil's going to lead to get us to 100 million passengers and beyond. And we know we want to prepare for all things that go with that growth, but a big part of what goes with that growth is supplying reliable, clean, low-cost energy. And we think this provides a great alternative. So with that intro, I will give it over to my friend and the visionary behind this project, Phil Washington.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you for your support and leadership in this effort. I also want to thank our DEN team as well. We have been talking about this for a while, and I want to acknowledge before I get into this, both Robert Kinney from Xcel Energy, who is our partner in this as well, Lee McIntyre, which is probably the pioneer in nuclear work, and he's right here from the state of Colorado. Thank you, Lee. And our interns, our DENterns, who did a research paper on SMRs. We asked them to do it. It just so happens to be that today they briefed out their research earlier this morning in a 3-hour session we had this morning.
Just in time.
Just in time, just in time. And I thought I might have them do this presentation, but they said, nah. So that's good. As the mayor said, we are pursuing a small modular nuclear reactor. And this is really one-in-a-kind work that we're doing. We are creating and introducing a new application for small modular reactors in the aviation space, in the airport space. It's exciting, and we have really 4 major things: safety, security, cost, and compliance as we pursue this study. As the mayor said, we are one of the busiest airports in the world. We're also Colorado's largest economic engine. and that is a responsibility that we take very seriously. As we look ahead towards that 100 million annual passengers, and then beyond that to 2045, our 50th anniversary for the airport, we are looking out towards 120 million annual passengers as well. This announcement is consistent with our Vision 100 and our Operation 2045 goals that are guiding us, as the mayor said, to become the greenest airport in the world. Today, DEN and its tenants consume about 40 megawatts of electricity. 45 megawatts of electricity. We've got major projects on the way. We've got a consolidated rental car facility that alone will consume 40 megawatts of electricity. And so we know that the aviation industry is evolving. We're prepared for those innovations like electric vertical takeoff, advanced air mobility, things that we're not building now, but will be here in the aviation industry sooner than we think, maybe even the next 5 to 10 years. And so not only are we looking at our projects, but we're looking at those innovative things that will come over time. Since 2021, we've energized 3 large on-site solar arrays, and we've added about 30 megawatts of solar capacity across 100 acres. We've partnered with Xcel Energy to install solar-powered battery systems that provide emergency backup to our concourses. We are more than 2 years into building Colorado's largest energy performance contract, and that is implementing deep energy and water efficiency upgrades across the airport. These things that we've already done save about 20 million megawatts of hours of electricity. And we've also built a closed loop aircraft de-icing fluid recycling plant. All of these things, we are adding SMRs, small modular reactors, to the things that we are already doing right now. And that becomes very, very important. The modulars that we are thinking about would be built underground. They would be stackable. They would be scalable. And so starting with one small modular reactor, and based on our demand over time, we can add additional SMRs as we go. This allows us to be the masters of our own energy fate, if you will. Many of the projects that we're doing, I mentioned the consolidated rental car facility, but we're also looking to build a 7th runway. We have 6 now with the ability to build 12. We are looking at the North Terminal expansion. We are looking at Pena Boulevard and what that will need as we move forward. So all that to say that we are doing the right thing. In addition to the decarbonization goals that the mayor mentioned, we aim to reduce our environmental footprint. We envision selling excess power to real estate developers. And you will notice that we put out a press release today talking about we are going to invest in horizontal infrastructure to prepare parcels on airport property for move-in ready opportunities. And so this SMR idea fits into that. This endeavor would guard against catastrophic loss of power. This SMR endeavor will have us running these small modular energy compacts 24/7, 365 days a year, and not intermittent. And so that becomes important. Creating the redundancy that the mayor talked about and allowing us to switch from modular networks if needed. One SMR goes down, we can switch to another SMR if we have more than one. The aviation and airports is a new SMR application that is much needed as we modernize aviation. So lastly, our initial thoughts here are that these SMRs, again, will be built in a modular fashion. Modular meaning we can build in other parts of the airport. We are very, very fortunate because we have more land than any other airport in the world except for one. And that one is in Saudi Arabia. And I don't necessarily count that one because it's full of sand. Will be built in a modular fashion, as I mentioned earlier, underground, stackable, scalable, redundant. So we believe by pioneering this SMR application in an aviation and airport setting, we again would, one, attract developers, reduce our carbon footprint, and meet our energy needs for the next 50 to 100 years. This endeavor, lastly, is consistent with Colorado House Bill 251040. And it would make Colorado, not just the airport, an early pioneer of nuclear. And then lastly, we want to create career pathways in the nuclear space for young people in the Rocky Mountain region. We want young people in this region, and we want this region, through the creation of career pathways, to be the Silicon Valley of nuclear technology. We want our young people to understand how to build a small modular nuclear reactor. And consistent with our training center, our Center of Equity and Excellence in Aviation, we will include this into our career pathway to make sure that our young people are ready to understand this new technology as we go forward. I'll stop there and ask the mayor to come back up, and I think we have time for questions.
Thank you so much. All right, we are ready for questions. Thank you, Jonathan is here from our climate team as well. If you have climate-related questions, so delighted to help how we can. Yes.
My water bottle spilled. My name is Patricia Garcia Nelson. I'm the Colorado Fossil Fuel Just Transition Advocate for Green Latinos. Right now, there are only 3 deployed small modular reactors in the world. 2 of them are in Russia, 1 is in China, and with the full backing of the Chinese government, that took 16 years to deploy. We need clean energy, and we need clean energy now. We, in this area, including the airport, is in severe non-attainment. We need deployable technologies now, especially with the city of Denver's very slim and the state's very slim budget. How are we justifying this investment, quote unquote, when the state of Idaho lost $232 million from their failed deployment of SMRs?
Thanks for the question. For us, we clearly are remaining in an all of the above non-fossil fuel energy strategy, which is we are not just saying that nuclear is not our only strategy. We're going aggressively still at solar options, aggressively still at wind energy, aggressively at geothermal. All of those, we're still pursuing an ambient loop here for downtown. So we are in no way slowing down on all of our other ambitious climate goals around renewable energy. This is an investigation, so it's a study as to whether or not we think nuclear can be one part of that puzzle. And we think it was a place with as much energy needs as the airport and as much opportunity for growth, both on site and in the surrounding property. That's a place where this scale of supply would be really powerful, but that's what the investigation will yield. But in no part of this process will we slow down the rest of our ambitious commitments to other forms of renewable.
That didn't really answer my question. I really want to know, like I said, that this is not a proven technology. And so we should be spending money on things that are already available and deployable. I understand that we're looking to the future, but Coloradans, we want solutions now.
Yeah, and we want to do both. Part of long-term leadership is you have to both build with what you have right now, and you also have to plan for what's coming next. And so for us to get where the amount of solar panels it would take, for instance, to generate 400 megawatts of energy, there's not enough space at Den or maybe in Eastern Colorado to do that right now. And so when you talk about, let me just finish the question. So when we talk about long-term growth, what we're talking about is both how do we keep deploying those resources now that we will immediately? There's no pause in that effort to deploy renewable sources immediately. And how do we look at options for long-term growth? And those questions you have, exactly the questions that we have. That's what this study would help inform. Other questions? Yes.
Hi, Nia Bender from KOA Radio. All of my questions have to do with, say, accidents. with the SMRs, things like radioactive waste. What do you do with that? Neutron leakage, and environmental impacts. And you, I think, mentioned that these are being built underground. DIA is in the middle of Tornado Alley. So is this an issue?
Great. I'll give Phil to jump in. I'll just say, I'll reiterate, this is why we're coming to you at the beginning of an investigation into what the opportunities are, what the risks are, what the mitigation strategies would be to meet those risks, how we'd answer those questions. So short answer is that's what we want to discover over the course of the study, but let Phil jump in to talk about the specifics.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We are, the study, and by the way, the request for proposal went out at 8:18 this morning, looking to respond to many of the questions that you two posed. The study itself will cost about $1 million, and that is money well spent to learn everything that the mayor just talked about. SMRs can be built in 3 to 5 years. They can take up as little as 30 acres, depending on the megawatts. The safety and security piece is a huge piece of the study that we are looking to address. And so we know now that small modular reactors that even are being designed right now, they're not in operation, but they're being designed right now, have a much smaller footprint. There was actually an article in the Washington Post just this morning talking about SMRs can be put on flatbed trucks. That is how small they are to be transported. The security piece, the safety piece are questions that we must answer, and we will answer those questions. And so we are not discouraged by previous failure. I imagine there were critics during the Industrial Revolution that says automobiles ain't gonna work. We sticking with this horse and buggy. We're not discouraged by that. We want to go down this path, which we think will be the norm for power in the next few years. But as the mayor said, we are not slowing down our efforts. We have the largest performance energy contract in the state of Colorado. We have the largest solar array in the state of Colorado. So we're not slowing that down. We are just adding one more alternative energy endeavor or idea to the mix.
So what about disposing of the waste part?
The disposing of the waste, right now we know that waste disposal is recyclable. We know that about SMRs right now. Those are questions that we have in the RFP to look to be answered when we get the study back.
So you would maybe do waste disposal on property?
We have not decided that. We want to wait till the answers come back from experts on how to dispose of waste, but that is a prominent question in the RFP right now.
Michael Booth with the Colorado Sun. You're talking about spending $1.5 million
Yep.
on public money on the most complicated technology that it's not ready to be put on a flatbed truck and truck to DIA this year or anytime in the next 5 years. There has been one reactor license, commercial reactor license in the last 40 plus years. There is still nowhere to deposit the waste except on site. All the nuclear reactors around the country are holding their waste on site because there's nowhere else to put it. Why can't you do more of the proven technology, which is solar and solar storage, for example, which you're already doing, which can be done less than 2 years from now?
Again, we are doing all those things, and we've even accelerated some of those other things that you mentioned. But we think it's prudent to add another option, another alternative, to study another alternative to the mix.
Phil, are those $1 million coming from DIA?
Yes, we are an enterprise. We do not use sales tax or taxpayer dollars.
And how long do you expect the study to last?
6 to 12 months.
Hello, Denver. You spoke about some other benefits of SMRs, access to energy, so real estate agencies, real estate developers, data centers. Can you speak about those benefits and why they're being talked about now?
Sure.
quite early on in the process?
I'll start and then I'll turn it over to the mayor. There are benefits that we know, and there's benefits that perhaps we don't know. There's many things that we know, the known knowns, if I can channel Donald Rumsfeld, and there are some things that we don't know. In the study, we propose to find out the things that we don't know. Benefits in terms of we have, when I look out over our capital improvement program for the airport over the next 12 years to accommodate 100 million and then 120 million, we are going to exceed our demands in terms of the projects that we have to build. And so one of the huge benefits, in addition to what we mentioned earlier, is the power, the certainty of power as we move forward that would run uninterrupted with a small modular reactor. When I started looking around the world, and we had an opportunity to go to Madrid and talk to some of our international counterparts in Madrid, and soon after we left on that trip, the Madrid airport went down. They went down, and you may have read about that. Heathrow went down after that. The Metropolitan Transportation Authority, MTA, in New York went down just recently. We don't want that for the airport. And with every other thing that we're working on in terms of power, this provides, if commercialized and when we get this done, because I'm optimistic, that 24/7, 365 power.
Judy Kohler with the Denver Post. The history of licensing nuclear reactors is notoriously long and protracted, and it's very expensive. The most recent nuclear reactors built are way over budget. So, do you expect any kind of maybe help, from the current administration, which has certainly signaled its enthusiasm for nuclear power?
We do. We do. We anticipate and would welcome grant assistance both on the study cost and also during implementation. And so we are optimistic that we will receive grant money. I mentioned that airports, this is a new application. So I think that it would be in the best interest of the federal government, even our state government, to allow for pursuit and study of this particular endeavor. So I fully expect that folks will rally to us to do this particular study. And the last thing I'll say about that is we are not going down this road without off-ramps. There are off-ramps that we can take if we need to. This is not the road to nowhere. This is a road with exits on it if need be.
Last question?
I'm going to just add one thing to that while we get ready for that. I just want to make sure someone that hasn't got any questions in will be able to too if we have someone we didn't get to. I want to name that we know this process is complicated and requires caution. And that is also why you want to give yourself the time to investigate it thoroughly, right? You'd say the best time ever was to plant a tree was 20 years ago. After that, the best time is today, right? And so because the process is complicated and requires real thorough investigation, we should begin that process now. But when you think about how this matches multiple of our goals and multiple of our values, we do want and do know that this city needs to grow. Economically, when you look at some of the opportunities right now, Denver is one of the major tech centers in the country. Denver is the quantum computing center of the world right now. There's actually more quantum companies based in the metro area of Denver than any other metropolis in the world. That's a huge opportunity for the city. The same is true about artificial intelligence. All of those industries, among other things, will require two things: reliable electricity and real estate. And so for us to be players and partners in that growth, we have to have the opportunity to provide electricity at scale in places that happen to be connected to one of the best airports in the world is a win-win opportunity. If we don't do that, we're looking at trying to site dozens, 40, 50, 60s of other electricity generating or distribution networks throughout residential neighborhoods in the city. That is a different, harder challenge. And so what we want to do is figure out how we can both grow and grow green at the same time. This provides one opportunity to do that. We will discover over the next 6 to 12 months if that opportunity is viable, if it is affordable, and if it is permittable. But we, Phil and his team have talked to folks at the Department of Energy, we've talked to folks at the state level. We think this is one source worth investigating if you want to grow at the scale we want to grow, with the values in which we want to grow, which is around both protecting our economic growth and protecting our climate. I know that we're probably out of time now, and I'm happy to take follow-up questions if we're done when we step through. I think you have a committee to go to.
I do.
Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate you taking the time.
I just want to ask,